We are back with the latest updates surrounding the Philadelphia team. And trust me, today's show is absolutely packed with news and crucial information. So let's dive right into it, starting with Dallas Goedert, especially after everything that went down following the 2025 NFL Draft. It's absolutely necessary to break down the current situation of the Eagles' star tight end. And of course, we can't ignore the team's big moment celebrating their Super Bowl 59 win with a visit to the White House. Before we go any further, though, I just want to take a moment to appreciate everyone who stuck with us through our NFL draft coverage. 3 full days of nonstop picks, detailed analysis, and discussions around every single move made. Thanks to all that support, we recently surpassed 119,000 subscribers, and we're knocking on the door of 120,000. It's amazing to see the excitement surrounding the Eagles' daily coverage growing stronger than ever. Now, when it comes to Dallas Goedert, it's important to understand the bigger picture. Heading into the draft, the tight end position was definitely seen as an area of need, mainly because of the uncertainty hanging over Goedert's future. He's entering the final year of his contract. He's had to deal with several injuries, and his deal doesn't have any guaranteed money left. His cap hit for the 2025 season is huge, sitting at $11,800,000, which naturally raises questions about whether the team should look for a long-term replacement sooner rather than later. This year's draft class for tight ends was considered really strong too. 2 tight ends were taken in the first round alone, and a whole wave of them were picked early on in the second round, including standout names like Mason Taylor. The Eagles' draft plans made it very clear. If a tight end with high upside was available at the right spot, they would not hesitate to grab him as a possible successor to Goedert. But as it turned out, the board didn't fall in their favor. Other teams snatched up the top tight ends early, leaving the Eagles without the opportunity to add a new young star to that position group. Which brings us to the obvious question, what's next for Dallas Goedert? Well, recently we did get some new insights about his situation. Howie Roseman was even asked about it during a press conference. For now, the depth chart at tight end looks pretty solid. Goedert, when healthy, is still easily one of the best tight ends in the league, offering a rare combination of elite blocking skills, reliable hands, and versatility all over the field. Behind him, Grant Calcaterra has shown flashes as a reliable backup. Plus, the Eagles made some smart moves in free agency, picking up Harrison Bryant, who's shown some real red zone potential, and Kylan Grandson, who has been praised for his blocking abilities. Roseman even made a pretty interesting comparison between Grandson and another successful tight end who carved out a strong career in the NFL. And let's not forget about E.J. Jenkins, who was with the team last season and is another name to keep an eye on. He may not be the biggest guy in terms of frame, but he's proven he can hold his own, flashing moments of real promise after coming into the league as a late-round pick. There's also another player who stuck around after fighting hard through the preseason last year. Although he was a third-round pick at one point, he faced plenty of obstacles along the way. But if there's one thing this front office knows how to do, it's build a deep, resilient tight end group. It's clear they trust what they have right now. Interestingly, reports started to surface during day 3 of the draft, during one of those marathon live broadcasts, suggesting that the Eagles may actually prefer to keep Goedert around after all. That's a bit of a shift, considering earlier in the offseason, some conversations behind closed doors made it sound like they were ready to move on. But now, it seems like there's genuine interest in finding a way to keep him in Philly. And honestly, why wouldn't there be? He's still just 30 years old. He's incredibly talented. And when he's on the field, he's an absolute difference maker. Of course, the concerns are real. The injuries, the high salary, and the fact that he's probably looking for a new contract. That's why so much speculation has swirled around his future. Early on, the feeling was that the Eagles might look to cut ties quickly after the Super Bowl, but things obviously didn't play out that way. Historically, the Eagles have always prioritized having strong, reliable tight ends. They know how crucial that position is to their overall offensive identity. Goedert, by the way, ranks second all-time in playoff receiving yards among tight ends for the franchise, trailing only one other legendary name. His impact in big games, especially during their Super Bowl runs, simply can't be overstated. Think back to the start of last season against that tough opponent. there's just no way the Eagles win that game without Goedert's contributions. And when you fast forward to the Super Bowl itself, he was once again a key piece of the puzzle. If he comes back this season, it will be a massive boost to an offense that's already returning 10 of its 11 starters from that championship-winning group. That said, if he does stay, the front office would almost certainly want to renegotiate his deal. Bringing him back at a reduced salary would make perfect sense for everyone involved. He's currently among the top 5 highest-paid tight ends in the NFL, and while he deserves to be well compensated, there's a way to make it work without crippling the cap space. When the Eagles chose not to draft a tight end, it naturally led to more questions. During the post-draft press conference, the team emphasized that, as of now, Goedert is still very much a part of their plans. That was an important statement, even though Howie Roseman, as always, kept things a bit open-ended. He made it clear that they'll keep evaluating the roster as they move forward. For now, there's no new deal on the table, but there's still a tremendous amount of respect between the team and Goedert. They have gone to battle together, built strong relationships, and everyone recognizes what he brings both on and off the field. Of course, there's always the possibility of a trade. But if the Eagles did decide to move him, finding a partner might not be easy. A lot of teams already address their tight end needs in the draft. There is, however, one potential landing spot that stands out. A team that's desperate for more firepower on offense. They picked up a player who unexpectedly fell to them in the first round, something no one predicted would happen. Naturally, if Goedert were released instead of traded, it would come with a dead money hit on the cap. But given the Eagles' history of managing their finances wisely, they could certainly make it work. It's also worth remembering that the player who fell to pick 14 was a major steal, and that reshaped some of the Eagles' plans. Still, the front office has a history of being flexible and creative when it comes to these financial situations. So whether it's post-June 1st or another strategic move, there's a path to keeping the books healthy no matter what. Personally, I really hope Goedert stays. I felt that way throughout the offseason. After the main event, the Eagles released an official statement recapping their day in Washington, D.C. They emphasize how meaningful it was to be honored as champions and how important it is to remember the fundamentals that led them there: talent, teamwork, and celebrating something truly extraordinary. It's moments like these that serve as a reminder of what can be achieved when a group of people commit themselves fully to a common goal. A lighthearted moment that drew big laughs from the crowd came when the president playfully criticized the NFL for even thinking about getting rid of a certain signature play the Eagles have mastered. It was clear he had done his homework, recognizing the team's unique strengths and showing a real appreciation for the nuances of their game. The event wrapped up with 2 players presenting the president with a personalized Eagles jersey featuring the number 47. Marking his place as the 47th president. It was a thoughtful and symbolic gift that brought the entire ceremony to a joyful close. What made the day even more significant was that, unlike after their first Super Bowl win in 2017, this time the Eagles actually made it to the White House. After the last title, the planned visit was canceled amidst controversy and political tensions. So for many players, coaches, and fans, this visit was seen as a chance to finally close that chapter and enjoy the recognition they deserved. The owner even reflected on that, mentioning that as a kid, he could have never dreamed of standing on the White House lawn celebrating a world championship with his team. He spoke about how deeply meaningful the tradition is and how important it is to separate sports from politics as much as possible. He acknowledged, though, that these days, everything tends to become political. With the current climate in the United States, it's almost impossible to have a major event like this without some kind of controversy. Social media and certain parts of the media landscape thrive on stirring up division, making it even harder for teams and players to simply enjoy the moment. A few players chose not to attend the ceremony, and that's perfectly fine. The owner reiterated that attendance was completely voluntary and that every player had the right to make that choice for themselves without judgment. It's important to recognize that some high-profile names were absent. Some reports suggested scheduling conflicts as the reason, and while it's hard to know for sure, it's not unreasonable. After all, it's the off-season, And for many players, it's also the peak time for family events, vacations, and personal milestones like weddings. In fact, one player just got married recently, and others had other major commitments. So while the absence of a few big names might have raised some eyebrows, it's important to keep perspective. Participation in a White House visit should always be about personal choice, not obligation. There was another incident that drew a lot of attention. Photos surfaced of a star player playing golf with the president before the ceremony. The images went viral almost immediately, and predictably, a wave of outrage followed. Some fans were furious, not because of the golf game itself, but because of the political associations. It's a reflection of the times we live in, where even something as innocent as a round of golf can become a flashpoint for controversy. The player addressed it with humor, posting on social media that morning, laughing off the criticism by saying some people were really upset just because he played golf. He emphasized the importance of respecting the office of the president, regardless of political affiliation, and urged everyone to focus less on the politics and more on the moment. He pointed out that he had previously played golf with a former president as well, and that he was simply taking advantage of a rare opportunity to share the course with the sitting leader of the country. It wasn't about politics, it was about respecting the position and making the most of a once-in-a-lifetime experience. From my perspective, he owes no one an apology. We live in a time when the culture of outrage seems to demand that public figures constantly apologize for every action that even slightly upsets someone. But in this case, it's refreshing to see a player stand his ground and refuse to back down. It's unfortunate that such a special moment, one he will likely cherish for the rest of his life, is being overshadowed by unnecessary controversy. Whether the president is a Republican, Democrat, or independent, the opportunity to visit the White House and play golf with the president is a rare honor that should be celebrated, not condemned. If I were ever invited to such an event, I would absolutely go. Not to endorse any political figure or policy, but simply to experience history firsthand and have meaningful conversations with people from different walks of life. That's what these moments should be about: bridging gaps, finding common ground, and celebrating the incredible achievements that unite us rather than the differences that divide us. It's worth remembering that visiting the White House is optional. Some athletes have accepted the invitation, others have respectfully declined, and that's perfectly fine. What matters is that each person made their choice based on what felt right for them. It's disappointing that the current climate often forces these personal decisions into the public spotlight, where they get twisted and politicized. Hopefully, moving forward, we can learn to respect individual choices a little more and let people celebrate their hard-earned accomplishments without dragging politics into it every single time. After all, close friends and family members often disagree on political issues, yet their relationships endure. It should be no different here. Just because two people don't share the same political views doesn't mean they can't celebrate together, work together, or respect each other. That's the beauty of living in a free country. The ability to hold different opinions while still recognizing and appreciating the humanity in one another. Treat as a political statement. That's not healthy for anyone. Everyone shares some responsibility for the toxicity, whether through media narratives, social media outrage, or everyday conversations that escalate into arguments. Hopefully, reflections like this one might open some minds, even if just a few. I know some people will disagree, and that's okay. Everyone's perspective is shaped by their life experiences, their upbringing, and their environment. That diversity of thought and background is what makes society rich and dynamic. Imagine how boring life would be if we all thought exactly the same way. We need our differences, we need our debates, but we also need to approach them with more respect and understanding. In the end, this visit to the White House was about so much more than politics. It was about recognizing the hard work, sacrifice, and excellence that led the Philadelphia Eagles to a world championship. It was about giving these players, coaches, and fans a moment to celebrate everything they achieved together. And that's something worth honoring, no matter where you stand politically. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a groundbreaking move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, Tyreek Hill, one of the most electrifying wide receivers of his generation, is joining the Philadelphia Eagles. The news broke earlier this week, and the Eagles fan base is already buzzing with excitement. Hill's move to the Eagles marks the latest chapter in a career that has been nothing short of spectacular, and it promises to take an already formidable offense to a new level. Tyreek Hill's name has been synonymous with speed and playmaking ability ever since he burst onto the NFL scene as a draft steal for the Kansas City Chiefs. With a unique blend of lightning-fast acceleration and top-end speed, Hill has consistently proven himself as one of the most dangerous weapons in the league. His ability to stretch defenses, create separation, and make game-changing plays has made him a nightmare for defensive coordinators. Hill's resume includes a Super Bowl win with the Chiefs, multiple Pro Bowl selections, and numerous accolades as one of the top receivers in the NFL. For the Eagles, acquiring Hill is a move that could redefine their offensive identity. The team already boasts a potent attack led by quarterback Jalen Hurts, and Hill's addition adds another dynamic element to the passing game. The speed and deep threat ability that Hill brings will force opposing defenses to respect every inch of the field, creating more opportunities for Hurts and the other talented playmakers on the roster. The combination of Hill's explosiveness and Hurts' arm strength could make the Eagles' offense nearly unstoppable. The move is also a statement by the Eagles' front office, who have shown a willingness to go all in on building a championship-caliber team. Hill's arrival gives the Eagles an elite weapon that can take over games, and it signals their intent to challenge for the Super Bowl in the coming years. With Hill now in the fold, Philadelphia is undoubtedly a team to watch in the NFC. However, Hill's journey to Philadelphia has not been without controversy. There were whispers earlier this offseason that Hill might leave the Miami Dolphins, where he had spent the past few seasons, and make a move to a new team. The Dolphins, having invested heavily in Hill, will now have to find a way to replace his unique talents on the field. Miami's loss is Philadelphia's gain, though, and the Eagles are set to reap the rewards of this monumental acquisition. Eagles fans are already celebrating the arrival of Hill, with social media flooded with excitement and optimism about what the future holds. The pairing of Hill with Hurts and a talented roster could be the catalyst for a run at an NFC championship and beyond. As the season approaches, all eyes will be on the Eagles as they look to build on their success and prove that they are now one of the NFL's elite teams. In Tyreek Hill, the Philadelphia Eagles have added one of the game's most explosive players, and the potential for a high-octane, unstoppable offense is now very real. This could very well be the move that propels the Eagles to new heights in the 2025 NFL season. Eagles fans, it's time to get excited. Your team just became a serious contender. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.